Good morning. Good morning. What's up, everybody? Good morning to you. Happy Tuesday. It is June the 25th. We are here doing the Xtrades FOMO live stream. Hope you all are looking forward to digging into some existing trade plans, those that we posted Sunday, and then working on some new ones to get ready to wrap up the week. Let me just adjust my mic position here a little bit. All right. Let me also get the stream started over in our Discord. Oh, there's my screen. Go live with that. What's up, Unknown Reviews? Good to see you, buddy, as always. And for those who have joined on YouTube, feel free to chime in, say hello in the chat. Good to know that who's joined and has decided to prepare for the day and start off on the right foot. So let's dig into some things here without further ado. I am keeping an eye on the Discord chat as best I can, but for those who are watching via Discord, please take the time, come over and join us on YouTube. That is really where I'm trying to put the majority of my focus and attention so we can continue to build our audience on YouTube. I think the more people that find these live streams, the more people will continue to come back and check them out, because I think we produce a ton of value in a short amount of time. And if you're watching on YouTube, totally free of charge. So that being said, what's up, Brian? Good to see you, brother. Glad you're here. Let's dig in. Let's talk a little bit about what we're seeing here on ES, which is, again, kind of a general barometer for market sentiment and direction that we always like to touch on as we get ready to tackle any particular trading day. And certainly something we cover regularly on these live streams. So we talked last Thursday, about potentially looking to be short for a move down a little bit further toward this 55.08 level and into this next demand zone. If we start to see ES break down below 55.41.75, this red line right here was kind of our signal to look to start to short some things and potentially focus on downside, at least in the near term. And so we've seen that play out. In fact, we even got a break below. We've seen several back tests up in that range of resistance, or other indicators that have flipped to resistance just within, I would say, a reasonable range of that level. We do see a little bit of a spike here that was interesting, and it might be the start of confirming a new downtrend here, so keep that in mind as well. Not to say that that downtrend is long-lived or overly problematic, but it's starting to look like it is there to me. We do have a couple of touches. I know it's hard to see, but with that supply zone up there, maybe if I zoom in a little bit more, got a couple of touches. This one not quite getting to it. So again, I'm watching this one I guess casually, for lack of a better way of saying it. It's not, I don't have a ton of conviction in this downtrend just yet, but it could be there. And certainly if we start to see some resistance or rejection, I would be paying close attention to that once we get another test of that downtrend that might be forming. We did lose this ascending trend line, so we can go ahead and pull that off our charts. What's up, Strife? Good morning to you. Good to see you here, as always. Also, good morning to the folks over in Discord, of course. Glad you guys have joined us there as well. So we are fishing down in this demand zone a little bit. We've gotten very close to that 55.0850 level with these couple of bounces. So we could see a double bottom here and a push higher. It's definitely kind of in a mixed, choppy area right now. So I'd be very careful, as the long story short, with ES on kind of getting too loaded up too heavily in one direction or the other right now. I would definitely be looking to kind of try to find the right opportunities and focus on tickers that are maybe moving independent of following the market too closely, because again, we could see some sideways choppy action just with some of the things I'm seeing on the setup here, including the fact that we're now below and finding some resistance at the 200 SMA. But overall, these SMAs are still trending to the upside for the most part. 200 is flattening out a little bit, but 200 over the 333 here on the hourly, this is all still a strong area of buying pressure just below, but certainly some overhead pressures, some sell pressures becoming a factor as well. So, we're going to start to get pinched here a little bit potentially and see some chop before we consolidate and make a break to the upside or downside. So, anyway, like I said, play a little bit cautiously in the near term until we see something give way. I would say either a break back above this 55, 47, 50 level. I think once we've done that, we've definitely confirmed a break of this potential downtrend that's forming. And that does look like it's been a key resistance with the exception of this one little pump here. But this could be the pump that, again, creates this downtrend line and confirms it. So we'll keep that on watch. Some overhead pressures, but again, pressures below as well. All right, so let's dig into some trade plan reviews. I posted these in our Discord in the options watch list on Sunday evening. I've also been sharing those on Twitter. X, I guess, is probably the right name for it these days. As well, I will start to be a little bit more selective about what I'm sharing on X. I don't want to devalue what our folks at Xtrades are paying for. So, but I'm going to post as much as I can while still trying to retain kind of some of the key value stuff like the daily SPY plan. That's something that I think, will always be an Xtrades exclusive. But anyway, posted these trade plans on Twitter and again in the Discord Sunday evening. That was based on the votes that I received through that Google form I posted in our Discord. And so the tickers that everybody wanted me to look at, or the ones that received the most votes, were Amazon, Coin, and Palantir. So let's dig into these. Amazon started off the day kind of within the range, this being our call entry up here, put entry down here for those who are just kind of seeing one of my trade plan charts for the first time. So this solid gray line right here is the one that we're watching to break for downside. We did see a break below, and even better, a break below, back test and rejection. We're also seeing some back testing and rejecting here pre-market as well. So if you're in, this one looks like it might play out to the downside. The one thing I would be very mindful of and might even go ahead and scale out some for profit early, but it's definitely going to flip your risk reward ratio the wrong direction with the stop loss being all the way up here at 188.23. And that's this 333 SMA sitting right here, pretty close to this 4-hour level here at 185.09. So that 333 SMA here on the 15-minute chart is sitting right there. The other thing that I noticed as I was kind of reviewing some things this morning is the 200 SMA also isn't too far away. We are still bullish ultimately on the hourly chart here, but if this 185.09 breaks, I think there's definitely room down to 183.63, if not all the way down to 182.95, where we find our next confluence, and then below that onto PT2, in my opinion, for puts. So keep this one on watch. It definitely looks like it could push to the downside. There are just a couple of factors to be aware of, and those are things that you should really be looking at as you're executing these trades plans. Things like where these moving averages are sitting, or what your indicators are telling you, because the picture changes day by day, right? It's a static picture when I'm doing this stuff on Sunday evening. But my point being is that doesn't mean don't follow the plan, but if you see things that might be potentially problematic or might stand in the way of us getting all the way to PT1, like looking at this setup here on the 15-minute, for example, with the 333 right here, and then kind of confirming some additional support there on the hourly as well. You see something like that, that to me says, okay, start off with a smaller position size and scale in, average up. Some of the best traders I know actually average up on their trades versus averaging down and trying to fight accepting a loss. So again, something to keep in mind. A little quick tip or lesson for you there. But anyway, it does look like it's got decent potential to reject down. We do have bearish elements kind of right where they need to be. Just a couple of bullish things still in the way. But once we get below 185.09, a lot of that clears out. And I think it definitely makes room for continuation to the downside. So keep Amazon on watch. If you've already started your position and we get a break below, again, that could be a break below this 185.09. I mean, that could be a good opportunity to average up. And then, of course, we've got our stop loss average down up here with a bearish flag on Neptune short signal. And on the hourly, I do also note bearish trend ribbon rejecting right at the top of that here pre-market. So all things that I would expect to see for something that might push down lower. Coin was also on the list. This one played out pretty strongly yesterday to the downside. We did start off below. In fact, we gapped down below the put entry. The plan was published here well, the price was here, I should say, when I published the plan Sunday evening. Come Monday morning pre-market, we gapped down right below and really kind of nailed that put entry levels, that 220.84 level, showing strong accuracy there. So what do I say? And we've talked about this recently. I think one of the more recent examples I can think of was, I want to say it was like AMD, where it was pushing to the downside on the put side of the trade plan. I think it was like already at PT1 pre-market. So again, seeing something very similar here on coin. So when I see stuff like that, in fact, I think I shared this on Twitter as well. So, go back and check me, correct me if I'm wrong. But I say, don't chase this move. I'd really rather see a back test of the put entry and use that as our opportunity to get in when you see these kind of pre-market moves and we're already hitting a price target before we even had a chance to get into the trade. Don't chase these. Be very careful. And even if it continues to play the downside, you might say, oh, I missed an opportunity. Yeah, but you did something correct by not chasing the trade, right? And there's going to be more of those scenarios that bite you. In my friend, that's definitely very anecdotal, but I would say in my personal experience, chasing trades tends to wind up in far more losses than it does wind up in significant wins. So just be patient. Let the trade come to you. We see this here again with coin testing PT1, but ultimately back testing our put entry and then dropping down, hitting PT1 again. So there's your entry, there's your first scale out, and then shortly after you're scaling out, dumped hard down to this weekly support. So went one level beyond my PT2 for the trade plan, but this level was on the chart there at 207.65. Those weekly levels are significant. Maybe I shot too far on PT3, if anything, on this. But again, if we've already hit two price targets, you're scaling out for profit, you're moving your stops up. In fact, I probably would have been stopped out on this, if not on the break back above PT2. The most room I would have given this is a break back above this trend ribbon right here, which we started to see that into the close. So I would have been very hesitant to swing anything overnight on coin. Does look to be establishing a little bit of an uptrend, so starting a strong bounce off that weekly support. So I think I saw, T asked over in the Discord, do you see coin going up soon? It's already going up, right? So good bounce off that weekly support there at 207.65. The way that I set up my support and resistance levels, weeklies are some of the strongest levels I chart out. So, falling knife, will I try to catch one off of like a hourly level? No. Off a weekly level? Maybe, right? So, could have caught that there off that level if you were noting all the levels that I share with you guys. So, definitely going to be a heck of a fight, I think, to get back above this put entry level here at 220.84. You got Neptune has dropped down. It has the key selling pressure right there on top of that level, lined up, pretty much exactly with it. So strong confluence there. SMAs are still bearish, still pushing to the downside here on the 15-minute. Let's take a look at the hourly as well, see if that kind of shows us anything different. Definitely pretty far overextended to the downside here on the hourly, so we could see a little bit of a retracement to the SMAs, but that's a long way off. We are fighting them above this bearish trend ribbon that's been in place for several days now and does seem to be trying to flip to the bullish side. So there's potential, I think, for a move up if it can break over 220.84, if it can break back over that put entry level. There could be an opportunity to play this to the upside using PT1 for puts as your stop loss, average down level, and then using the stop loss average down from the plan, this 226.44 level as your PT1, and then the call entry level there at 230.85 is PT2, then PT1 for calls, your third price target. So again, plenty of ways to kind of adapt and adjust and repurpose these key levels or any of the levels that you see on my charts as I share them to come up with your own ways of executing trades. So again, feel free to be creative with this stuff. But if you're newer to this or you just feel more comfortable straight up sticking to the plans as prescribed, totally fine as well. They tend to be pretty good. All right, so last but not least from the member selected tickers, and then we've got one to review because we did coin last Thursday on the live stream, and then I was asked to do it again over the weekend. I don't know how much I changed the plan from the live stream plan that we did Thursday morning versus the plan that I did Sunday evening, but we've already kind of covered coin and where it's at currently. So we did do that last Thursday as well. But RTX was one that we did last Thursday that we haven't covered yet. So Palantir, again, pushing to the upside, nice break above, back test of the call entry there, continues to push higher, caught one level and rejected below, but only 8 cents off, so really kind of either of those two spots, not a bad place to take profit. So I was shooting, again, slightly higher by 8 cents from where this rejection took place, but overall seems like it's kind of slid sideways and is consolidating a little bit. I do have the SMAs catching up here. Let's take a look at the 15-minute. Well, that's not a great look with the 200 now crossing below the 333. Trying to maintain a overall bullish trend on the 15-minute. On the hourly, we do have SMA still trending to the upside. A little bit of resistance there overhead near that PT1, but I think room to get through all three price targets. And looks like it should continue and should hold 2402. So again, this would have been a good one to play with shares or just buy lots of time on those contracts. But RTX, this was the plan that we did Thursday morning pre-market. So we did this right around here. We ultimately saw this one break to the upside, come back and back test the call entry here going into the close on Friday, and then yesterday just rocketed up past PT2, hit up near this daily level at 107.54, and then a massive rejection all the way down and then bounce almost perfectly off of PT3 for puts. So I don't know what the hell happened in the world of RTX yesterday, but something happened. I don't see any news catalysts listed here on the chart and trading view. Typically, you'd see something like that that helps maybe give a little bit of a story behind why this hard rejection happened. I mean, a rejection off some of these levels is not surprising, but for it to just totally slice through all these supports straight down, something wild happened yesterday. And RTX is not one that I followed or paid much attention to personally. In hindsight, I kind of wish I had. But anyway, this one's fully played out to the downside now. Seeing a little bit of a print below here pre-market, but this is also one that looks like it doesn't really show any kind of real reliable price action on the extended hours chart. So really probably this is more of what the chart should look like. And again, clean bounce off that PT3. So we had the right targets in place if you were following this and willing to essentially take care of rejection off this resistance, or I mean, heck, even if you waited for the break below, right? Got our 15-minute close below, back test, and then, I mean, within an hour, you're down through all the price targets for a almost $3 drop. So anyway, those are our trade reviews. Let's work on some new trade plans. Let's get it ready for our trading day. We've got some time to do that. MU from my homie Unknown Reviews. We can definitely take a look at that. T, I hope you caught that bit of analysis on coin there, and that answered any questions that you might have. All right, so we've got requests. And what's up, Chris? Good morning to you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Kia, what am I trading today? I'm trading whatever plans go into effect. And as always, I'm always trading the daily SPY plan. If you're not in the Xtrades Discord community, I highly recommend you check that out. I post the daily SPY plan there every day, and generally it slaps. All right, so what were we looking at? Oh yeah, MU. Let's dig into Micron. This one I haven't looked at in a while. Clearly it's printed some new, a lot of new all-time highs. Had some fib extensions down here, but it's been a while. Like I said, since I've looked at this, it's made a lot more progress to the upside since I last looked at it. It's caught some of these fib extensions decently well. Let's just clean up things a little bit here. Let's see. I don't need these anymore. Okay, that looks good. There's some of that. Okay, that's probably good enough. Just trying to keep some of the distracting bits out of the way. So let's dig into MU here. And for now, I'm going to hide my indicators. Just want to focus on price action for a minute. See these old fib extensions. A couple of sets back here. But those did map out a lot of these untested support and resistance levels. Nice rejection off that fib extension there that I don't know how long ago it was we mapped that out, but I'm sure it was quite a while ago. Definitely an interesting move here to the upside. Looking at the weekly, all right, let's dig in a little bit to some of these smaller time frames where we'll start to find some new support and resistance levels here. That's always kind of step one for me. This is interesting, but I would say it's not quite confirmed on the daily chart yet. So an interesting top up here. That's not actually going to change for a sec. We'll go with that. All right. Anything else that sticks out? It's actually played through some of these fib extensions really nicely, so don't see a ton of new support and resistance levels that I would change or add. Just use those existing projections that we had. It's an interesting level, but not really seeing anything totally confirmed there yet. Interesting little gap up here. This is a level I'll kind of keep on watch as well, even though that gap is filled. A lot of times gap levels can help you spot support and resistance levels. It's kind of like a shortcut to finding them because gaps tend to form in one of two places, either at existing support and resistance levels or they establish new ones. Like here's an interesting one. Great example, right as I say that, where we see this rejection, so a resistance level starting to be established there. That's right where that gap opened up to. So, quick little tip for you guys and gals. All right, I'm not seeing a lot more there. There's some things of interest here, but far from established. We can also run a quick. I like the looks of doing a fib retracement here. Whoops. I did that the wrong way. Sorry. There we go. Yeah, it didn't really show anything in that range anyway. Yeah, that's not all that helpful. All right. So, how do we want to put this plan together? What I'm looking at here is probably looking for a break over there is possibly a level here. Sorry, I'm just trying to feel this out sort of in real time as we're in this essentially price discovery still. We haven't spent much time in this range. There could potentially be something there, but I think we still have a decent window of opportunity. Let's see. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at. Is a break above this 144.92. Call it 145 if you want. I think we could shoot for that 149.70, but there's potential level here. Just seeing a little bit. It's not the cleanest support and resistance level in the world, but it's better than nothing based on the amount of time we've spent up in this range. Right there at 148, so I would scale out some there. Then I think we could be shooting for this 149.70. It looks a little bit, that looks a little bit more of a confirmed level to me than the 148 level. But two spots to scale out at, and it's decent gain, decent distance between the two of them, even though it looks a little bit tight between those two targets. And then ultimately, I think we've got an hourly level sitting somewhere right in this range. So I'm going to kind of err on the side of the lower end of it, right there at about 152.85. So those would be PTs 1, 2, and 3 with a stop loss average down right here at 142.33. Also, I would note, looks like it might have either broken a downtrend or might be getting ready to break. Let's check this out real quick. Yeah, it looks like it's trying to break out of this downtrend. So could potentially, if you wanted to have a more aggressive entry, also wondering if that kind of makes me want to change this plan. Let's throw the indicators back on. That's a huge aid or guidance point for me. Yeah, I'd say let's wait for a little bit more confirmation. Stick to that 144.92 call entry with those targets to the upside. The other thing that I note, let's zoom out on this a little bit, see if it goes back a little bit further. Could also have, I don't know if it traces back this far. I think there's an ascending trend line. Might be a little bit of a symmetrical triangle kind of setup. Yeah, I don't think it traces back that far. I think it fires off of that candle right there. It's kind of a short-term symmetrical triangle. Could also looks like a little bit of a bearish pennant here. If you look at the bigger picture, this being sort of the stick and this being the pennant. But just because it's a bearish pennant doesn't mean it has to play out to the downside. Those setups can be invalidated, or downside is not a guarantee. It's just a tends to play out to the downside setup when you see those. But yeah, I got a couple of trend lines and definitely a bit of a symmetrical triangle pattern setting up there. Also have a level here on the hourly I had not marked yet. That looks pretty decent. And I think that could be an effective put entry level, actually. Gives us a first target down here at 135.82. It's an interesting rejection, but not seeing much else other than that. Whereas down here I am seeing some support and resistance, and it caught that rejection pretty cleanly. So I would say, I could be wrong about this, but PT2 down to 133.72. There's a level here I don't have yet. I know this is going to make it for a tight PT2 and PT3, but I don't know, actually. Let's take a shot at 131.51. Again, make sure you're moving your stops up. I think it could be either of these two spots of 132.51 or 131.51 as a third price target. So if you're, happy with where you're at, plan plays out quickly enough, and you're good with the profits you've gotten out of the downside by the time you get to 132.51, go ahead and scale out there. Could potentially drop a little bit lower though, and again, at that point we should already be well in profit or decently in profit. So moving stops up should allow us to try to stretch a little bit more for that further price target, another dollar into the money at that point. This one fib extension I think could just be a hair off. I think it sits right there, and I think that also makes it for an effective stop loss average down level with that small adjustment. All right, so here's our trade plans for Micron. Wonder, actually, as I look at this, I would say this: make sure you give yourself plenty of time on the upside trade plan. And again, there is a potential, I would say, entry earlier at 142.33. I would put your, use the stop loss average down as the stop loss for that entry from this downside trade plan, so the 140.23 level. But better confirmation over 144.92. All right, so let's post these in the chats. This is the NU live stream plan. And I'll share that over in our Discord watch list, options watch list as well. So what are we looking for here on Micron? We are looking for a break over 144.92. That should give us targets at 148, 149.70, and 152.85. So big stretch for that third price target with a stop loss average down at 142.33. So kind of a liberal area of risk there. Keep that in mind. Maybe start off smaller, just keep your position sizing overall small, playing to the upside. And again, potential earlier, more aggressive entry at 142.33 on a break above that, switching the stop loss to 142.20 or 140.23. I'm sorry. If you do decide to take that more aggressive entry. To the downside, we'd be looking for a break below 138.77. That should give us targets at 135.82. Strong confluence there, so I would scale out heavy at 135.82 and certainly move up your stops aggressively. And then targets down at 133.72 and 131.51 with a stop loss average down at 140.23. Those are your Micron trade plans. Go forth and bank. Secure the bag. All right. Hideout wants to take a look at on. We can take a look at that next. All right. This is not one I don't think I've charted all that often. In fact, it looks like I might have thrown like a couple levels out to show somebody something at some point. So let's just get rid of what little is there. And let's take a look at this. No indicators. So this is going to be a great example of kind of how I do set my charts up if we're talking about something that is essentially I've never looked at this point. This is what the process looks like, right? First thing I do, go to the weekly chart, start mapping out my higher time frame support and resistance levels, which we'll start with. Oops, probably right about here. Yeah. And that's probably the lowest we'll need to go as far as mapping out any support and resistance. I don't foresee any real risk of dropping lower than that in a non-apocalypse scenario. Let's see. Yeah, something right about there on the weekly. It's also not confirmed, but a level of interest that we'll keep on watch. Again, another interesting double top, but nothing confirmed there. This, not the cleanest weekly level I've ever seen, but I think it's there. All right. That does it for the weekly. Let's get on to these daily levels. Let's see if we can't figure out what our two kind of placeholder levels are here. Seeing lots of support, lots of resistance at each of those, but yeah, nothing else that really helped. Oh yeah, we do have a little bit back here. So I think again, it's just more, well, You know what? No, I think we've got enough here for that to be good daily level. This guy, still TBD, 43, 45. Yeah, just lots of resistance. Okay. Zoom out on this a little bit. Interesting level right here. Can we get some confirmation on it? Yeah, I think so. Interesting topping here. Probably sits a little bit closer. Let's take a look at that real quick. Kind of bunched up there on those two daily levels, but that can happen. So just let the chart tell you what to do. Don't try to force it to look a certain way. It's probably the best piece of advice I can give on that. Got decent support resistance at that point here on the daily. Lots of interesting support touches on this level. And some decent resistance. Good enough, I'd say. Another interesting double top. See if that turns into a bounce there. I like that. Might be testing on a level right here pre-market, actually. Very close to it. Looks like right about there. Let's check this. Yeah. So kind of breaking below and fighting that as resistance at the moment. Here pre-market, so that might become a factor for us. And let's see. Definitely have another one here. All right. I think that looks pretty good. I am interested by this level, actually. I think there's barely enough, and it's all right here, but it's all I need, I think, to call that a decent support and resistance level. I think this 45.05 is all-time high, or was that all-time high printed? Yeah, never mind. Print it back here. And let's check this on the 4 hour. I want to see where that really comes into play. Whoa, 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 whoa. So it's like, did I not go back far enough? Did I go back too far? Let's see. Yeah. 55.87. That's going to be an interesting level. I don't know if it's going to be a factor in our plan or not. There's a 4 hour level sitting right about there. Keep on watch. This is an interesting rejection, but that by itself doesn't really tell us much. Let's see what we can find if we go back here a little bit. Yeah, right there. Okay. All right, let's take a look at the hourly. I'm going to fill in, well, we even need to, actually, is the question. Yeah, I don't think so. We're not going to have a need for price targets any higher than what we've got. All right, so we'll just fill in the blanks if we see support and resistance levels that we've yet to map, like right here. Let's also flip on our indicators, use those as a guide. Potential downtrend line here. Either off that or off this. Let's see. Could be either. That looks more recent. Looks a little cleaner. We'll keep that on watch and in mind. Okay. So how do we want to handle this trade plan for on? What's on again? On holding. Consumer durables. Okay. Non-durables. Sorry. So what I'm looking at and for be a break above this 4032 daily level. We're going to take first profits at 4180 over that 4244. I know that seems like tight price targets, but it's something that's trading in the sub 3-figure range. That's actually decent room, a decent move still. This was a placeholder speculative level. I think it actually sits right here. Yeah. And also makes for a good third price target. If we put it right there, stop loss average down. The only thing I debate is giving it enough room down to this daily level, or is there maybe confirmation to cut this a little sooner? I'm going to take a look at this 39.53 level real quick. Last time we were up through this price range, and then we'll be ready to move to the downside. Trade plan should be, come on. There we go. All right. Yeah. I think we could. Again, probably seems like it doesn't matter, but these on these smaller dollar tickers, this I think does make a little bit of a difference as far as the drawdown and profit take and all that stuff, even though it seems like a small move. So stop loss average down right there at 39.53. To the downside, interesting resistance right through here. Also could see it a little bit higher. Got an hourly level here. I think we've got one here as well. So I think what we're looking for to play the downside, I'd like to see a break below this 3808 level. Set our stop loss here at this 3864. Actually, might be able to give this a little bit more room, but I just didn't see much else. No, I guess there is a little bit there. Again, I know it seems like I'm splitting hairs, but these little bits make a difference on these smaller dollar tickers. Yeah, I think that's appropriate. 3882 stop loss, PT1 down there to 3703, PT2 this weekly level, PT3 there is an hourly level right here that I think would behoove us to take profits at down there at 34.92. Okay, so you guys got to see the whole shebang there from start to finish. If you ever want instruction, which is it's kind of like a deep dive thing that I do. In fact, might eventually just do like a group class on it. I really prefer to work with people one-on-one because there's question and answer is such an important part of the process. But anyway, if you want to learn more about support and resistance, feel free to reach out anytime. I definitely have a whole process and stuff that goes into that. But anyway, neither here nor there. All right, so here we go. This is our on live stream plan. And I'll post this over in the options watch list as well for those following along in Discord. All right, so let's run through this plan real quick. What we're looking for on is a break over 40.32 to go long or take calls. That should give us targets at 41.80, 42.44, and 43.25 with a stop loss average down at 39.53. To the downside, we're looking for a break below 38.08 with targets at 37.03, 36.05, and 34.92 with a stop loss average down at 38.82. Those are your on live stream plans. I did see somebody ask a quick question. I'll take a quick look at these, but I won't be able to do full on trade plans for you guys. I think it was Nadesh asked about Apple. Let's take a quick look at Apple for him. Yeah, I need to go add levels to my Apple chart. I haven't updated this since it made its big break, and we had a trade plan on it down here. It's slipping down to the bearish side a little bit here on the hourly. Does seem to be finding some trend. Let's check the 15 minute. Yeah, 15 minute caught it nicely, but still some pressure overhead there with the 333 SMA. I'd say if it can get over that 333 SMA, what's that put us at? 212.12. What's that look like here on the hourly? 212. Well, still puts us up in some selling pressure there on the hourly, but I think room to recover more up to 215-ish if it can break over that. If it loses, let's go back to the 15 minute. If it loses this, let's say if it loses the low of day yesterday, you could see a bigger pullback. This, the support that it dropped down to that I don't have mapped out at. So essentially below 207 could go down to probably 204, 205.81-ish. But yeah, could ultimately, I think, wind up down near this 204.56, 288, these old fib extensions that I had in place. And then there's also a quick question from Ryan on Mara. Again, not going to be able to do a full trade plan marathon crypto miner. Definitely has some confluence of resistance right here on the 15 minute around 1926. Just broke down through the bullish trend after getting a nice bounce out of it. Yeah, the whole crypto miner space has been really weird, just chop up in this range. Definitely been hard to trade. I hold several crypto miners as far as equity positions for selling options contracts against. I had this 1983 as a significant level from a previous trade plan. There's also decent confluence there on the hourly. Say over 1983, could see a push higher. And below, yeah, I'd say a good break below 1826 could see lower down to 17 and some change. So again, very quick kind of at a glance guidance on both those. So sorry couldn't get more into those, but we are within 10 minutes of market open. I do need to go put the SPY plan together so I can get that posted for our community at the Xtrades Discord. If you guys haven't checked it out, please come take a free trial, give it a spin. If you don't like what you see, you don't have to pay anything for that, obviously. There are links on the Xtrades YouTube page if you're just watching on YouTube, as well as links in the live stream descriptions that I've shared. So please come give us a look, check it out. I think you'll like what you find. We help people every day turn red accounts, turn big loss holes into a level playing field, and ultimately get people back to profitable. Hope you'll give us a chance. Come check it out. I think you'll like what you find. We will be back Thursday morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on YouTube, and of course broadcasting to the Xtrades Discord as well. So with that, as we always say here on the FOMO live streams, I'm going to tell you guys, plan your trades, trade your plans, go out there and execute, get some green, secure the bag. For those who are in the Xtrades Discord community, I will see you guys in the chats throughout the day today. I'll be providing updates in there. For those of you watching on YouTube, I will see you guys back here Thursday morning Have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for joining me. Talk to you all soon. Take care. Thanks on the reviews. Take care, buddy. You guys have a great day.